This video is sponsored by my OnlyFans, where I do my meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, nutrition, relationship advice, and more. Hi guys, and welcome to the Empress Show with me, well, of course, Geri. And now we're going to take a look at something very curious and super shocking from the latest book, The End and the Death. And if you haven't read this book, I will totally advise you to, well, come back when you actually read it or listened to it, because it's going to be a total spoiler, because we're going to take a look at a particular chapter of the book where we can see something happening with the Custodies and the Emperor. So we are going to literally play the chapter so you can hear, with your own ears what the heck is happening, because there's always some speculations about what actually happened, but I think it's pretty clear and I think it's pretty straightforward what happened. So if you don't want to know, click away and come back later. But if you do want to know, we are continuing. So spoilers ahead, guys. Spoilers. So yeah, guys, this chapter, we're going to listen to it fully. It's like around 13 minutes. I'm going to react to it, and I will try not to stop it, but if there's something that occurs to me, I will stop it to comment. If not, we're just going to continue listening to it, and then we're going to comment and we're going to discuss what happened. So once again, guys, final warning that this is going to be spoilery, although it's like news from the lore, so you're going to find out anyway. But at least that is how I'm used to finding out information about the lore. When I'm trying to learn something, I usually learn the things beforehand, and then I'm just getting to the books, and they're still interesting to me because I'm getting to experience them, in person from first hand, and not like told by someone else. So now we're going to experience this chapter of the book from first hand. So it's not like I'm retelling this and representing things the way that they aren't. So yeah, that is just the best way for you to hear this. So hi everyone in the chat. And Optic, you will not read this book anyway. So yeah. Now guys, I'm going to play this like it is. You just let me know if you can hear it correctly in the chat. I'm not gonna stop it until there is some kind of a problem, or until, as I said, I have to say something. So, well, you never know, Optic, but I don't think it's it's going to stop you from reading the book, This is one of the best books from the Warhammer library, like hands down. I'm almost like at the last 5 hours now of the book. So, and the book is 18 freaking hours. I'm like, when I looked at the time, I was like, like, how I'm going to finish this? But yeah, and hi to you too, of course, Giovanni, Amla Deepa, hi to you. Okay, let's hear it, guys. So spoilers. Phew. This is called 5 Visions of Heresy. The 5 chapters after second part.
Visions of Heresy. It makes such perfect sense. Such perfect, rational sense. Kaikaltus isn't sure why it's taken him so long to appreciate it. The Emperor must die. He must. It's the only logical conclusion that anyone sane could reach. The Emperor must die. No. The Emperor must die. He is mad. A mad monster drunk on power, and his tyrannical rule has lasted far too long. He really must die. No! He must die now. It's the only way to stop the war. It's the only way to protect the human race. The Emperor must die immediately. Please stop. He must be put down and destroyed as quickly as possible. And who better to do that than the men built to guard his life? Who else is strong enough? Close enough? Please. Who else has the peerless clarity of mind to understand the perfect rational sense of it? The Emperor must die. I can't. Take that spear, plunge it through him, free the species. Shut up! It's all been arranged. The stage is set. Everything is ready. The Emperor won't see it coming, because he's a mad monster and utterly deranged. All the hard work's been done. He's been brought out of hiding to his place of execution. He is defenseless. Now just take that spear. Get out! The cunning of Horus Lupercal knows no limits. There is a reason his father named him War Master. He has arranged it, and made it all so easy. Look at the simple perfection of his stratagem. He set a trap so blatantly and painfully clumsy, it can only be a trap. A trap so brazenly incompetent that the Emperor could not afford to resist it. Stop! No! He laid bait so staggeringly unsubtle that it spoke to delusion, to a loss of faculty, to hubris and arrogance, and beckoned with such graceless inelegance that even the infallible master of mankind was convinced his first found had lost his wits. You will stop! And so the Emperor, proud and mad as he is, rushed into it, knowing full well it was a trap, yet arrogant enough to think he was ready for it. Ready for anything, more powerful than anything, more mighty than— No! No, indeed. The trap itself was the ruse. There was no way in creation for Horus to surprise his father, so he didn't even try. Instead, he let his father surprise himself. His arrogance was his own trap. Now take the spear. Caecaltus Dusk resists. He falls to his hands and knees, weeping and spitting blood. The feral ingenuity of Horus Lupercal has undone him entirely. It has undone them all. Choking on his own gore, he goes into violent convulsions as he tries to break the insidious control that has been placed upon him. He wants to get up, needs to get up and defend his king and master. Some of his brethren have collapsed, stricken like Caecaltus, but many of the other companions have already turned on him. Part of Caecaltus's brain, the part that he is resisting with every fibre of his being, is telling Caecaltus to get up and join them. It is screeching at him to become the utter contradiction of his nature. There is a pain in his chest, an invisible knife through his heart, pinning him to the deck. All he can do is lie there, shaking and fitting, witnessing the horror as a blood-dimmed vision. A vision of atrocity, of heresy, of natural law undone and duty desecrated, of the most shameless infidelity. A king turned on by his royal bodyguard, a monarch surprised and betrayed by the ones he trusted most, a Caesar butchered by the captains he never thought to doubt. We cannot be doing this. But we are. It is impossible for us to be doing it, but we are doing it anyway. Horus, you will pay for this. My King of Ages is alone. He cannot— Blood jets. The Master of Mankind decapitates Sentinel Warden Cleotan before Cleotan can skewer him with his lance. The Lord of Terror catches Sentinel Warden Casadris and Heteron companion Kintara on the backswing of his burning blade as they rush him. He deflects Shield Captain Dharmasar's halberd and cuts him in two. Hycanatoi Chrismurthy weeps as his master beheads him because he realizes what he is being coerced to do. You will pay! You will pay! You traitorous monster! Shield Captain Avendro cartwheels away, Auramite splintering like golden glass, the long spray of his blood spattering the white hull of the Stormbird racked beside him. The trap was in us, all along. There was nothing waiting for us at all. Your doors were wide open and your shields were down. There were no surprises waiting for our master, except your profound mastery of the Imperium, which we have woefully underestimated. We knew your power was great, first found. We had no conception of how great. Host Marshal Telemonis shreds through a guardrail, his headless form plummeting into the shadows of the underdeck subholds. The Emperor came here ready for anything, first found. So you prepared nothing. Misdirection. He was looking everywhere except at himself. With his attention held, you reached in, and with formidable sleight of hand took away his readiness. You took away his focus and determination from the moment he arrived. You took it from all of us. The Emperor's warblade, a brand of white fire, leaves burning magnesium afterstreaks in the air. You took away our keen edge by easing our minds into distraction and puzzlement, into reflection, into random thoughts. You did it with such precision we forgot ourselves. You did it with such concealed domination of will, even our master couldn't sense your mind at work. Companion Cecil sinks to the deck and slides apart in 3 pieces, like a perfect puzzle that will never be put back together. And then you twisted the pristine souls of the Custodians. Each one of us was painstakingly restructured on a molecular level to withstand the corruption of chaos. But you took the incorruptible, and you broke our minds. You broke the unbreakable. Sentinels Tirask and Sistratus thrust at their master with guardian spears, firing their integrated bolters. We are shrieking because we understand what you have done to us. We are screaming because you have forced us to turn on the master we love above all things. We are howling because we are fighting it and we cannot resist. The mass-reactive rounds explode against the rippling shield of his will, and he slices off the power blades of their spears. Tirask and Sistratus get to take 1 step backwards before they are struck down. You are forcing our master to kill us. Sentinel Mendolis grazes the blade of his Castellan axe against the Emperor's right pauldron, throwing sparks. Companion Captain Vantix, wailing in lament, drives his warblade into the Emperor's ribs. Blood jets. You will pay, Horus. You will pay. The Master of Mankind reels, then shreds Vantix into ribbons with his power claw. He sidesteps Mendolis' second lunge in a swirling billow of cloak and runs his sword hilt deep into Shield Captain Amalfi's chest. Each companion he strikes down is a profound loss to humanity. Each one is a perfect creation of genetic and esoteric engineering, masterpieces, hand-wrought with the most diligent and exacting labor. Each one is a boon companion and a friend, beloved as any son. And he is being obliged to destroy them one by one. The peerless blade splits Mendolis open. It splinters companion Heliad's visor and spins him off his feet. Was that why, first found? Was that why you made us your weapon of choice? The psychological effect? Did you think it would make him hesitate? Did you think it would make him vulnerable? You clearly do not understand at all. Vestarios Enteron drops to his knees, clutching his ruined torso. He crumples sideways. Sentinel Justinius misses with a 2-handed swing and does not live to try a second. He is the Emperor of mankind. He comes upon you in wrath, clad in his aspect of war. More than 30,000 years of work will not be undone by your malice and spite. That he is required by you to kill his own perfect warriors does not make him falter or weaken his resolve. It just makes him all the more determined to vanquish you. Beam energies rip across the flight deck. The Master of Mankind is knocked down. Oh, Golden Throne! Oh, my King of Ages! The Emperor has fallen against the side of another Stormbird, denting the armored flank and shaking it on its launch rack. The Tharanatoi squad closes in, encircling him, the blood of their tears streaming down the ornate gold work of their Terminator armor, their Adrathic weapons cycling for a second salvo. He cannot let them hit him full beam again. The Emperor leans for a split second against the Stormbird, fighting down the lingering pain so he can refocus his will. A squad of Hycanatoi vault the guardrails to their master's right, racing up the launch ramp to flank him. The relic weapons of the Tharanatoi glow with power. The Emperor raises his hand. Imperial lightning ripples out, a brilliant neon blue. The searing forks scorch the deck and hurl the Tharanatoi into the air like sheaves of corn caught in a cyclone. One ricochets off a ceiling hoist, fragmenting. Two tumble over the platform edge and plunge down the shaft of the through-deck elevator. Two hit a racked Stormbird so hard their armoured bodies punch through the hull like breacher-rounds. Four hit the deck with enough force to leave craters. One explodes. The power system of his Adrathic beamer jarred to critical instability. The catastrophic detonation throws others off their feet. They sprawl on the deck around Kaikaltus and the other handful of companions, convulsing in resistance seizures. Kaikaltus rolls onto his side, shaking. He tries to rise, but he can't. He tries to reach for his spear, then pulls back his hand. He knows that if he touches it, the urge to use it against his master will become impossible to resist. He sees the Haikanatoi bearing down the ramp on his master's right. He sees his master turn and look at the deck supervisor's console on the chamber wall 100 meters away. He sees his master tense and spear the console with a telekine pulse, and then duck to his knees. The ramp's ion launch catapult fires the Stormbird he was thrown against. It slams over him, past him. Fueling cables stretch and snap in clouds of sparks. Its engines and systems are dead, so it is merely dead weight, slung by the ion rail's accelerator. The Stormbird mows down and pulverizes the Haikanatoi on the ramp. It keeps going, starting to tumble down the entire kilometer length of the rampway in an expanding, seething fireball, and finally obliterates as it impacts the invisible integrity fields at the deck mouth. The Emperor rises to his feet. Loss, bitter pain and fury have broken the lulling spell of indecision woven by the warp. His will is now entirely clear and engaged. Before any more of the screaming custodians can move or rise or act, he enforces it fully. The deck lamps dim. Guide lights blow out. Consoles short and explode. Cables spit cinders and sag from the ceiling systems. All the Custodies still alive drop. Kaikaltus collapses onto his face. They are all screaming and writhing. It is no longer in torment or grief. It is simply in pain. Pain will do it. The Emperor applies more. Shrieking, Kaikaltus can hear his master's booming wrath inside the buckling bones of his skull. "I will burn your torch out of them, First Found. Do you see what I am now? Do you see what is coming for you?"
Yep. Okay. I really didn't feel like stopping it at any moment because it was. Oh, sorry, the mic. I stopped it to not have like a double sound. So I didn't really feel to stop it at any moment because it was just amazing. It was a lot of action. And yeah, here you go, guys. It's confirmed that this was basically the plan of Horus. You know, it looked like it's stupid from his part to lower the shield so the Emperor can join and, you know, all of those things. But, I mean, the whole time when you read the book, it's like Horus made a mistake, but in actuality it doesn't seem so because he managed to turn the Custodies against the Emperor. So some of the Custodies turned and tried to kill the Emperor. They even wounded him, as you heard. And they surrounded him, all those things, and forced his hand to produce these massive energy blasts on them to destroy them. And he cut them in half, all of those things. So yeah, the Custodies actually felt an undeniable urge to kill their freaking father. And this Kaikaltus guy is like our view to all of this, the torture, you know, the inner realization that they're doing what they're doing is just one of the worst things for them. So it is absolutely undeniable that the Custodies did turn to chaos. And yeah, he used words as "you corrupted the incorruptible," that he changed what cannot be changed, and all of those things. So yeah, we can't deny that the Custodies, at least in this instance, were turned against the Emperor, which we never thought that it would happen, but now it did happen. So that is what, of course, makes it shocking. I don't know if someone will turn against the author now because of this, but I think that it's written well enough to be believed. Now, do they have to resort to such things? Because I'm not really a fan of such ways of shock delivery in any story. When you take something that's not supposed to be in a certain way, and you know that it's never gonna be in that way, and then you still though find ways to change it. That's kind of like a cheat to me in a way, but when it's written well, it's written well because you can, you can say that, when the emperor thought that the Custodies were incorruptible, maybe he failed to think that there is actually a way for them to be corrupted if, all the powers of chaos are used in a certain way, let's say. So it's like, a fail-safe for chaos towards the Emperor's, conviction of the Custodies' incorruptibility. Yeah, something like that. What do you think? Now let me see your comments, guys. So yeah, Keith, they cannot be corrupted, until now. Midoriya Colin, hi to you. No, Joseph, hi. Jonathan Kibo, yes, he's the best. He's the best. Is that surprising? GW never jeeps their lore straight. Hey, Lord, the narrator did good job. Yes, he's great. He's great. Well, it is still surprising because you don't actually think that that's one of the things that can be changed. That's kind of the point. So is it a cheat for GW to do something like this, or is it not a cheat if it's written well? And I mean, it's a bit like very dramatic, and a bit over the top to a point, but in the same time it has to be, because if they don't emphasize what is happening in that way, then we are not really going to feel impacted by the sheer horror and the impossibility of this happening. So it's something that we considered to be impossible, but it turns out to be very possible, and then we are like, but maybe through the years, all the things that I have watched, when something is retconned like that, or when something is changed like this, it's kind of like, what are you doing, because you said that something is like this, but then you say that it's not. I always felt like mixed feelings towards such things, so I think it's up to the quality of the writing, how it is explained. Does it make any sense? Oh, sorry guys, my apologies. It's very late. I think that it does make sense. I would love to listen to it again. I'm listening to it for like third time, but there's so much going on, and the wounding of the emperor even kind of like missed it the first time. So yeah, we do have to analyze and listen to some part a few times. But yeah, we can no longer say that Custodies cannot be corrupted, because in the way that Horus did it, they can. Now in current lore, maybe they can't anymore, but who knows, really, because if such power is used again on them, why not? Why not? History could be repeated. I don't think that they will do that, because, could be kind of lame to repeat that. but it is a possibility that they're putting forward now, and Custodies still exist in the current 40K timeline. So, if GW decide to do something some kind of a crazy twist, relying upon this in the past, what happened in the Siege of Terra and the final hours of the Horus Heresy, they can basically do whatever the heck they want. I personally wouldn't, probably, unless they can think of some kind of a genius way. But yeah, we kind of need a bit more wins to this point, because we only have Gilliman that is active in the current lore, and the Emperor is still trying to somehow be active. So I think we need some kind of a win. And to put the Custodies in this position is going to be really a bummer. Yeah, I think they should be left pure as possible from that moment on in history, and they basically were and are, because we haven't heard that this happened at all before. So yeah, it's not mentioned anywhere else because this is the book that reveals it. Okay, let me look at your comments. GW does whatever makes them money. Yeah, I know. The whole Primarch store was created to sell their minis. Yeah, I mean, that is the whole point of this anyway, you know? The Chaos Dude was a Mythbuster? The Chaos Dude, what do you mean? The guy that talked from the beginning? Samus? I mean, you have to elaborate here. So yeah, guys, point is that, well, everything that GW does is, of course, for money, and that is what I always said, especially when it comes to the female Space Marines debate. You know, female Space Marines, the very, very first models just didn't sell and they discontinued them. That's it. And nowadays, we do have enough of female characters in the lore. So there's that, but I already talked about this, so I can, however, have a great discussion with Keith next week, hopefully. Hopefully. Shout out to you, Keith, and his awesome channel, by the way. Keith in the comments. So, yeah, we can discuss this. It's going to be interesting for two people to discuss it. But I always pointed out the fact that whatever GW does is always going to be for money anyways, and to argue, on top of the questions what really makes sense and not in the lore, we first have to consider what the heck makes sense in the real world and business-wise with GW, because that is the origin of everything, and the true chaos god is GW after all. So they are deciding whatever goes down in the lore because of the way that they want to present the tabletop game in the first place. That is always how it was. They are trying to make a compelling story to go along, of course, with the game, but that story, the story's origin and what transpires in there, has its roots first in the tabletop, and it's always the first thing that they consider. So yeah, if there's no female Space Marines, there are just no female Space Marines because selling. Although nowadays maybe they will be more, well, popular, but who knows, really. I mean, you can always paint Space Marines miniatures and pretend that they're female because they're going to look the same as the male anyway, you know? So yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for this part of the book. We'll see if I review it when I finished it. I do plan to focus on particular things that are pretty amazing to discuss because, as I said, this is one of the best books that we ever had. No matter if it's 30K or 40K, it is just amazing. It can hold my attention throughout. There's some stuff still that I think are kind of filler, side characters that I really don't care about. That is always the case in these books. They just don't really matter that much. They're trying to make them matter, but it's not really they're just not that interesting. So when it comes to the Primarchs and their interactions, and Sanguinius especially, and Rogal Dorn, just so awesome and keeps you on your toes. There's some awesome moments with Sanguinius and the Emperor, and I just love Sanguinius more, even because of what I found out from this book, how he is as a character. He's really noble and has amazing qualities. Just amazing qualities. This guy, he's great. So that's gonna be it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Custodies no longer pure, no longer in the lore. We can call them not corruptible. So yeah, love you guys, and as always, if you'd like to support me, you can join, of course, my OnlyFans, where I do all of my meaningful sex educational content, fitness, health, nutrition, relationship advice, and more. My own physique updates, and there's Patreon and PayPal for casual support. And on Patreon, actually, I review movies that you want me to see that I haven't seen. So there's that too. And for absolutely free, you can join our Discord, Golden Astartes, where we can discuss and share a ton of Warhammer information. So, yeah, thanks for being here, guys. Love ya. And until next time, with me, Geri Reviews and the Empress Show.